Welcome everyone. I don't know.
Okay. Hey everyone. So I'm Tesla Herbert, and today we have on tap Farzad Mesbahi. Did I say that right, Farzad?
You nailed it. You said it better than I say it.
So Farzad, you started your YouTube channel 7 months ago, and I think it was November 2021. You've got 20,000 subscribers. What a meteoric rise. Are you happy where you're at? Is this what you expected?
I hate this. No, this is the worst thing ever. Like I was expecting 1 trillion subscribers. Dude, it's been crazy. It's been absolutely bananas, man. It's like we were talking briefly before this started. Like it's the rise of the channel has been so. I did not even know what I was getting myself into when I put out my first video. You know, and
well, this is the funny part. Like, I did take a look at your very first video. It has 80,000 views now. But what I love about it is your wall looked really sparse, man. I mean, like, that was quite the your production level was nowhere near what you have. Like, you had like one little guitar maybe and one little post.
Exactly, so which like shows you right there. Yeah, and like you can see right there, like literally, I'm just gonna put out a video, put out my thoughts, and then see what people think. And
it actually looked like it was your entryway, the hallway, the stairs.
Yeah, dude. I was like super like I'm just gonna start talking. You know, it's like that whole Tesla idea of like just get started, just go with it. You know what I'm saying? So and I went with it, and I've just been so honestly overwhelmed by the response of that I've been getting in the last 7 months, and people are so appreciative of the sort of content that I've been putting together, and I'm starting to build a small community around me, which I'm so thankful for. And it's just been a trip, man. It's been super rewarding, but I never pictured myself in this position, but I'm honestly very happy that it's come about.
Well, we're going to dive into that. But when I met you and Cindy at Clive Bar just before the Giga Texas event, I'm your biggest fanboy, I'm sure, but I was saying that you are a star and you will go far. You've got all the elements.
Thank you, man.
If I say too much, I'm going to sound too much of a fanboy, but you are a star. So I want to get there, but I like to, try to share a little bit about or find out more about each person that I talk to, things that they may not share on their own in YouTube. And I know you've been very open and sharing a lot, but I want to dig deep and go right through your story from the beginning. Sure. So where are you originally from? Where did you grow up? What were you like as a kid?
Dude, I appreciate that question. Thank you. Yeah, so I was born in Spain, in Cordoba, Spain, to a parent of 2 Iranian immigrants. So both of my parents are from Iran. They were born in Tehran, and they left the country in 1979. Right around the time of the revolution that happened there in Iran with the Ayatollahs. Yeah. And they moved to Spain to continue their education and to, try to find a better life for themselves. So they moved to Spain, and then they had me back in Cordoba, and I'm 35 years old now. So I was born in January 87. And I have a smaller brother as well. He's about 4.5 years younger than me. He was also born in Spain. And yeah, man, it's just I grew up in Spain. We lived there for 12 years. We moved to the States.
So you speak Spanish, or were you at one of those international schools?
Yeah, I speak Spanish. I understand it fluently. I can read it fluently. My writing has gotten pretty rusty. My speech has gotten pretty rusty, but if like say somebody like wants to talk to me in Spanish, I can talk to them in Spanish. But there's some words I have to like think about. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then so as a kid, what were you wanting to grow up and doing?
Oh, dude, I don't know. Like, what did I want to do as a kid? I remember there was a part of my childhood where I wanted to be a cop for like a while. Like I want to be a policeman. I don't even know why, but I wanted to be a policeman. But I didn't really. My childhood was. I don't know. I don't really remember too much about it, to be completely honest. I think what really sticks out to me is that we moved around a few places in Spain, like a couple apartments within Cordoba. And then I remember around 12 years old, obviously we moved to the States, and I knew zero English when we came to the States at 12 years old. I knew like 5 words. I knew like goodbye, blue, poop. I don't know, like 2 other words, like very, very limited vocabulary at age 12. And we came to the States, And I remember showing up. We moved to New Jersey for the first 3 years, and I remember showing up, and it was right during my formative years of like, I hit puberty, and I'm like, a sack of hormones trying to talk to girls, and I can't. So that sticks
pull
out.
out your Spanish. Come on, love language.
Well, listen, I didn't have enough game back then when I was young to figure that out. But I remember being very shy. I remember being very, I don't know, just not antisocial, but I was very self-conscious about not knowing the language, after moving from Spain. So for a few years there, I was very, I spent a lot of time indoors. I played a lot of video games, kind of like cooped up a little bit in the house, and I used to play basketball a lot when I was younger. And I remember coming to the States. I still wanted to play basketball, but the level of basketball from Spain to the States is very, very different. In Spain, I was the tallest kid in the class with the best handles, with the best shooting. And then I came to the States and I started getting dunked on immediately. And I'm like, this is not going to work out. So that was kind of a bummer. And so I just started playing video games, and I don't know, man, like that was a lot of my childhood growing up was video games and being up in front of a computer and sort of building a community around that. I started playing instruments around the age when I moved to the States. So I picked up the guitar, I picked up the clarinet and the piano and some other instruments as well. So
I played clarinet too, by the way.
Did you really?
I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the wrong instrument for me. I'm
really?
loud. I'm loud. I want to get in there, and then you're supposed to be very quiet.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm blowing it as hard as I can.
Dude, clarinet's one of those instruments that if you can't play it well, you sound like a dying duck. It's like and that was most of my childhood growing up. But but music was a big part of my life growing up as a kid, and gaming and stuff like that. And then it's just a lot of that. I did a lot of that while I was a kid.
Step back a little bit. So when you do you have a lot of the Iranian culture? What does Mesbahi mean? Do you know that?
Oh yeah, so I don't know what Mesbahi means. I know Farzad is it's actually pronounced Farzad, but I don't even pronounce it. But I didn't even pronounce it that way because I'm like just used to hearing my name back from everybody. So I'm like, Farzad, that's my name, which is weird because it's like, when is the last time a person doesn't even pronounce their own name the way it's supposed to be pronounced? You know what I'm saying? Like I think about that often.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, if you've like completely abandoned your Iranian culture.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, there is still definitely a little bit of a culture. I've only been to Iran twice, so, and I was young when we went too. So I don't have a lot of exposure to it, but I know my parents did a good job ensuring that I was exposed to the culture, anytime I'm surrounded by other like Persians, it comes out, there's a lot of just the way you sort of, they're very jokey and, you're kind of just ripping on each other, always making jokes. We have this thing called tarofing, which is like a whole thing where you're always like, you're trying so hard to like pay for everything and to like make everyone comfortable. Like, to like the point where it's just embarrassing. Like you'll be in public and you're like fighting for the check for half an hour. And I'm like, this is the most embarrassing thing ever, So a lot of that
both
culture,
Americanized. If we're together, it's like, no, go ahead, Farzad, you pay for it, buddy. You owe
exactly.
me.
I'm like, bro, just like, I don't want to deal with this back and forth crap. Like, just somebody take the freaking bill. Like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's still part of the culture. And my mom's, especially my mom's tried to like ensure that we're still exposed to it. But yeah, man, I feel very lucky and sort of blessed to have been able to be exposed to like three pretty different cultures. You have Spain, Iran, and America. And I think that's helped me in the long term to really have a very open mind and to try my best to connect with people at a deeper level. So, I really appreciate the questions you're asking, because this is kind of like the stuff. This is the stuff that's important, So I feel very lucky to have that diversity in my.
That does make sense. I think people who travel and then you're forced to have to make friends with people, and so you're interested and you want to communicate with them. So when you graduate from high school in Bethlehem,
yes, sir,
Philadelphia, and then which university did you go to? And what did you study?
High school was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's about like an hour and a half north of Philly. Eastern Pennsylvania. It's like a 20-minute drive from the New Jersey border. And then I went to Penn State University and I studied mathematics and statistics. And I initially went for aerospace engineering, and that was my major at first. And then by the third year, I'm like, this is not for me. Like, I'm bad.
But you made it to 3 years, so that's pretty
bad. Good. I know. But then here's the thing. I switched over to math thinking, oh, this is going to be easier for me because it's, this is more intuitive for me. And then come to find out by the third year, math gets hella abstract, like hella abstract. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm worse at this than I was at physics. And so, but then at the point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to switch back because I'm going to be this loser who's like switching majors. I'm just going to stick it out. Yeah. And, you know, I was a pretty bad student. I was a pretty bad student in college. In high school, I was like that kid where I'd be able to ace everything, no studying. It just came very naturally for me. And I'm very fortunate to have that. But college, you have to actually put in effort. And I did not, because I was not passionate about what I was studying. So I was that freaking kid playing World of Warcraft until 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, drinking freaking 40-ounce hammers of Miller Lite, getting wasted, you know. Boy, it was a weird college life, you know. Super awkward with girls. Like, it was just
I don't
weird.
believe you, but okay, dude, you can say it.
Trust me, bro. I was a hot mess. But that in itself taught me a lot of lessons too, you know. Like, that sort of experience teaches you a lot of lessons, because you're like, you know, you're in a situation where you're trying to really figure out how to become part of, like, how to become more social, you know. And it was something for me. I think I had a lot of remnants from growing up, that I had a lot of shyness and like hesitancy to talk to people because of my accent or because I didn't know English very well.
Well, first of all, you have no accent. You have no hesitancy to talk to people.
Not anymore.
You have zero accent.
Not anymore. But I think having that experience really helped me to get here, though, because if I didn't have that, I don't think I would have been able to
have to believe you.
Have
then.
it.
Okay.
I swear to God. Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a cool transition, I think, and I'm thankful to have gone through that, because it was I don't know. I'm just it was a I don't know. It was a college experience that was unique, I think, for me versus like the other things that I experienced there, because everybody seemed so open and so free, and everybody was just free to talk. And it took me a while to build up the confidence, but once I built it, I realized just how much I enjoyed it, and honestly how powerful it can be to like really try and build relationships and get stuff done. And I think it became one of my tools in my toolbox.
Late bloomer in university, as per your story.
Yes,
okay,
that's right.
And then when you graduated with a math degree, what's your first job?
Yeah, so I joined a company called Phillips Pet Food and Supplies, which is a pet food distributor, the largest one in the country. Mm-hmm. And I remember joining it after I graduated college, about 6-7 months after. So I graduated in 2009. It was in the middle of the financial crisis, the recession.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, that was a weird time to graduate, man. Yes. I would not recommend it. That was weird. So it took me a while to find a job, and I was very lucky to have so I lived with my parents at the time, and our next door neighbor worked at this company at Phillips, and she knew I was looking for work, and she approached me. She's like, "Hey, like, we have a temp job at the company. Our mailroom lady's out on surgery for a couple of weeks. Did you want to come in and like help us sort of stuff some envelopes to ship them out?" I'm like, hell yeah, I'll take anything.
You're kidding me. Okay.
Swear to God. Yeah. So I went and I worked there. I'm like, yeah, I'll take anything. You know, it was like $7.50 an hour minimum wage. I took the job. I'm like, I'm literally broke. And, you know, my parents, you know, they don't come from a lot, you know, they had to build their life from scratch, and they did an amazing job. So we weren't like a family that had a lot of opportunities in front of us. We were all trying to work as hard as we can. And I'm like, I'll take anything. So I went and started stuffing some envelopes. And the curious thing about the pet industry during a recession is that it's recession proof, because everyone loves their pets too much to not feed them, right? Mm-hmm, so it was a growing industry in a very recessionary environment, and they were growing like crazy. And come to find out, they were looking for somebody that had some sort of Excel skills to help them analyze things. And I'm like, hey,
I got a degree in math.
I got a degree in math. I know how to work Excel. Like, give me something, I'll try, you know? Yeah. And then lo and behold, 7 years later, I'm the director of business intelligence and pricing, reporting to the CEO, you know, setting up strategies for the company from a pricing perspective. So it's
perfect. It's right up your alley.
Insane. Yeah. It was crazy. So I was very fortunate to just happen to be living next to Jessica. Her name is Jessica.
But did you not... So you weren't necessarily steered towards or gravitating towards technology companies at that time?
No, not at all. I honestly didn't even know what I wanted to do, to be completely honest. I really didn't. I graduated college. Part of the reason why I went to college is because I was expected to go to college, and everyone else was going to college. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. Well after graduating still. Like, I was thinking about being an actuary. I was thinking about being a teacher. I never pictured myself working at, like, say, in supply chain. It just
But
happened by
if I
chance.
piece things together, though, am I guessing correctly that you actually started your Metallica band in college?
It was before that. I was in high school. Yeah,
So
it
come
was in high
on, that's
school.
what you wanted to do, right?
Well, I did have dreams to want to be like a rock star. I did, dude.
We
You
can
know?
see two guitars in the back. That's what you're showcasing to everybody there.
Well,
You
I
got the
mean,
soundboard to the left. I think you might have one item there that's a Tesla tech thing,
yeah, I have like a Tesla whistle up there. I got my Model S
Yeah,
back there. Yeah, my
that's it. The
Cyber
rest are
whistle.
music. It's music. Okay.
Music was a big part of my life. Yeah, man. Like, music was huge. Like, especially, I was talking about how I was a shy kid, and like,
Yeah.
I grew up listening to metal music, and metal is kind of a sort of like a loner type,
Yes.
uh, music thing, which I'm super drawn to this day. And it was me, my brother, and our friends Jared and Dan, and we had this band. We had this band. We played in my mom's basement, and we played
Oh,
Metallica
wow.
covers.
That's great. Yeah.
And that's all we did. That's all, and that was by far my favorite part of my childhood, was playing with the band. And it was sort of like almost like escapism, I think, in a way, because
Absolutely.
because again, my high school, like, it was fun. I was in band and everything, but at the same time, like, there was challenges with having a language barrier for a while, and sort of like the move was, I think, looking back now, I think it was probably a little bit tougher on me than I initially realized, because I was really building a very strong friendship group in Spain, and then we ended up
Mm,
moving to the States. And I
yeah,
think that
absolutely.
thinking back, that was a little bit more abrupt than I originally realized, but I
Was it
couldn't be
right
more.
during grade 8, though? Where you're going, or grade 9 in high school?
It was grade 6 to grade 7. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So I was 12.
you were ripped
Yeah.
out in middle school and put back into middle school. Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. Different language, like, it's
Yeah,
so looking back, it was rough, but I'm very happy that it happened,
of
because
course.
being here is what's given me all the opportunity that I've had. I don't think I would have had the same thing in Spain.
All right, let's continue the story. So you're director of pricing and analysis and analytics
Yeah, yeah.
at
So,
food company,
yeah,
and then
director of
where'd you go?
BI and pricing, and then I ended up going to Tesla. That was when the Tesla opportunity came up.
Okay, so
And
tell us about that thinking in your head and what made you decide
yeah,
to make that flip. I did hear that you said that you were an investor in 2012. You actually
yeah.
bought the Model S already. So tell me
hmm
about how you first met with Tesla. What was the driver for you? Was it the mission? Was it the beautiful car? Was it the stock?
Yeah, it was kind of those three, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it was right around, so December 5th, 2012. It was the first time I ever bought Tesla stock, and that was I stumbled upon it by happenstance. It was
Yeah.
that was around the time. So I would have been in my job for a little bit over 3 years now. So I was making a little bit of money.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, like, this is nice. I can
Okay.
buy things. This is cool. But then at the same time, I was like, okay, if I have a salary and I have a ton of student loan debt,
Mm.
so much freaking debt. I was like a negative net worth for God knows how long. And I'm like, okay, I got to dig myself out of this hole somehow. And I'm like sitting down and doing the math. I'm like, okay, if I really want to if I want to have the house, the car, the security, the freedom, I have to figure out how to 10x or 100x what I have.
Mm.
And that's when I started discovered stocks and investing in the stock market. So I did some research, and I would read like forums and things on the internet that would try to point me towards the right direction. And one of the things I came across was Tesla. It was an up and coming company at the point, and Elon Musk was heading it, who's this tech visionary guy. He used to have PayPal and blah blah blah. I'm like, this looks cool. And
Yeah.
by happenstance, I stumbled upon the Tesla Motors Club forum,
Uh-huh.
and on that forum, you had Dave Lee was one of the early
Yes.
contributors on that forum with his mega threads, and Dave T was his handle. And I remember reading them, and there were these like monster threads that laid out point by point why Tesla was a great investment. And I'm like, this makes so much sense. This makes so much sense. And I remember I started watching YouTube videos of Elon Musk and Tesla to ensure that I wasn't like going crazy and I wasn't losing my mind when I'm thinking about this company. And then I really started, honestly, like I became really, what's the word, man? Like almost
Obsessed.
like obsessed, I guess. Yeah.
We're all obsessed. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like I became obsessed with the idea of what the potential of this thing could be in the long term. And I'm like, wow, this seems like such a hopeful thing especially during that, you think about 2012, it was after the recession. Like I'm trying to build a life for myself. And I come across this thing that's very inspirational, led
Yes.
by somebody who seems to really, really care and who makes a lot of sense and who's clearly very smart. It's like, dude, I feel like I got to hitch my freaking cart on this horse. And so I threw $3,000 into Tesla at the time, which was basically, I had like 12 grand saved up or something, 100 some odd $1,000 in debt. Like, dude, I'm going to throw $3,000 in there. I'm going to try to make some money. And then we had the quarterly earnings in 2013, Q2, I think it was, when they had their first profitable quarter ever. And then it went from $30 to like $180 or something in a span of a few months. And I'm like, wow, I have enough money to freaking put a down payment on a house,
Oh, wow.
And
That's
at
wonderful.
that point, the obsession was real. Like at that point, I'm like, dude, I want to work for this company so freaking
interesting.
bad,
Okay.
so bad. I want to be
This was
part of this
2012
mission.
because it was still very iffy of what would happen to this company.
It would have been 2014 by then. Yeah. So 2014 is that's when. So it was after 2013 and 2014. The price kind of settled around it was well past 100, like 200. I think it peaked at 360 in like 2015 or something. I forget the exact timeline, but it was around that time where I really made the decision that I really want to figure out how to be a bigger part of this.
Interesting.
Journey.
Yeah, for me, it was a very similar story. I found Tesla in 2012, and what blew my mind was, I already had invested in a electric battery vehicle company called Ballard Systems 5-10 years before that, and they were making batteries for buses, but they failed. That company failed. But I was very excited to try to put money into something that will hopefully change the industry, and discovered Tesla. But what blew my mind was when you hear the explanation of why an electric vehicle is actually better, the whole concept of there's no engine, and so there's less parts for service. Without the engine, you can actually have crumple zones, so it's safer when it crashes, and the batteries also provide safety. And then it just goes on, and I'm like, this makes like so much sense.
Right.
And then seeing the prototype of it actually driving, that it can be done. Interesting. So, all right. So you're working at pet foods company. You started to fall in love with Tesla, and then you made that decision. Were you already married at that time? Did you already have financial security you felt? And then how did you actually apply, and what role did you apply for?
Yeah. So 2014 was around the time. So I bought my house. I was very far away from financial security. I mean, at that point, I was still I was still negative net worth, but at least I had a house and I had a stable income, and I put 20% down on the house, and I felt great. And I still had an investment in Tesla, and I'm very, very happy. And I'm like, okay, every penny I can get, I'm going to throw it into this stock. Okay.
Oh, wait, you already were an all-in investor at 2014?
I was pretty deep. Yeah. Anything that I had. Yeah, any extra cash I had, anything that I owned that was stock was 100% Tesla.
So do you blame everything on Dave Lee then? Damn you,
yes.
Dave Lee.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Dave Lee, the case he made early on for the company was 100% the genesis for me being so heavily invested in Tesla. It made so much sense. And he was right. And he was right,
Yeah.
So so that was around 2014 I bought my first house, and I met my wife in the same year. So dude, everything was great. Everything was like freaking gangbusters. And met my wife 2014, and I was still making a lot of great moves in the company. So I started as a temp stuffing envelopes to an analyst temp to an analyst to a BI manager to a pricing manager, and then a director. So I sort of made that pathway. And then around 2016, at the beginning of 2016, my wife and I were able to save up enough money to start our own business. And this is a year before
I want to talk to you about this. This is like a totally amazing business. I love it. So I had the same idea, or we all do. You go to on it. Well, tell us a story, but this is so cool. I love it.
Yeah. So I remember being at my job, which honestly was a great job, but I'm like, man, like I'm watching Elon head SpaceX, head Tesla, head Solar City, all these other things. I'm like, I should be able to more than just work at one company.
You can do it. I can do it.
Exactly. I can do it. What the hell? He's doing it. I have to do this. This is good. So my wife and I decided to start an escape room business.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did was, so we did one in Philly, which we really, really enjoyed. And our area, so the Bethlehem, Allentown, Easton, which is the Lehigh Valley area, didn't have escape room at the time.
Right.
And we're both like, okay, so we have some money saved up, and we're both looking to make an impact. And my wife had just graduated college at the time too. So she had just graduated college, and she was also like, if I could start my own business, like I'd rather just do that than enter the workforce. Right. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. So we started an escape room, and we had it for 4 years, and it was great. It did really, really well. It was very, very successful.
So why the decision of an escape room? Like, did you experience one and were so excited about it? Are you good at escape rooms?
So I looked at it from a business perspective. So the way I analyzed it was like, okay, so this is obviously a super fun thing that's very unique, and there isn't one in our area, and our area is growing, and the overhead for this thing doesn't seem that expensive.
Yes,
but it does require a lot of creativity to do a good job, So. Yes. And the decision we made was that we were going to make all the puzzles from scratch, my wife and I. So we made the puzzles ourselves. We made the rooms ourselves. So we built out everything ourselves. We put up walls, we took down walls, everything. So we did it, which was a freaking pain. I'll never do that again in my life. That was the most painful period of my life, was between 2016 and 2019. It was fucking brutal. Excuse me, freaking brutal. You may have to bleep that out. My apologies. Yeah. But it was yeah, it was hard, but I looked at it from that perspective, and I'm like, this is going to be profitable as long as we can get X number of people in the door, and we should be able to staff it once we get big enough. And so what we did for a period of time, what I did is I worked full time at the job at Phillips, and then I would go home, I would go to the escape room and then work there,
in the evening, perfect.
In the evening, and I did that while I was at Tesla as well. So when I joined Tesla in 2017, I was juggling the escape room at Tesla at the same time, which was the dumbest thing I could have done. It gave me anxiety, it gave me panic attacks. It ended up being an awful thing to do those two things at the same time, because it's very, very demanding. Yeah. But yeah, man, it was crazy, and it was very successful. And the crazy thing is, we timed it. The timing of it was insane, because we decided to close it down at the end of 2019, because we started seeing sort of an overall trend of like the market was starting to get saturated, and we weren't seeing the same results. And we had an opportunity to exit the lease, because our landlord's sister was looking to move her thing, and the landlord was like, hey, no big deal if you don't want to, but I'm just wondering, in case you wanted to terminate your lease early, would you like to exit the lease and then maybe find
just
a new
before
location?
COVID in 2020?
Just before COVID, perfect, bro.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, and we're not even thinking about COVID. Like, yeah, this makes sense. We're kind of seeing the writing on the wall. We don't want to like be stuck with a business that's not going to be, not profitable in the next 2 to 3 years. Let's just pull the plug, move forward. And then 3 months later, COVID hit. It was crazy. Like the timing was ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous.
Nice. So, I mean, so you're entrepreneurial. You could, you're willing to start from scratch, build everything from beginning. Is that like,
yeah,
this is the way your mind works?
Stupid.
I'm going to do everything.
I'm dumb.
And you're young. Okay. So then, so when you decided to jump to Tesla, what was the job that got you to move? What's the role? How did you apply? Yeah. I mean, one of the things you bring to the table as a celebrity as you are today is, is your knowledge of the inside of what's happening in Tesla. Sure. But I was always curious, and I'm sure many of us, what kind of, how does Tesla decide who they're going to hire? And how do you position yourself if you want to work at Tesla? How did you do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll give you a little bit of backstory. So in 2017, the Philips just went through a pretty big leadership change. It had been purchased by they sold the company to an investment firm. Yep, Thomas H. Lee Partners. Yeah, so private. And there was some clashes between the current leadership, who's back again. His name's Blaine, one of the most brilliant people I ever met. He's the CEO, family owned for the longest time. So they had some clashes with the investment group. And so Blaine decided to be like, well, screw you, good luck, kind of
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, that's typical story.
And they brought in a replacement CEO who was great too, Todd. His name's Todd, and I actually heard from him not too long ago. Great guy. And and they were looking to move their headquarters from Easton, Pennsylvania, which is right next door to Bethlehem, down to Charlotte, North Carolina. And there was an offer, basically. He's like, hey, anytime you want to move down to Charlotte, let me know. We have an office down there for you. It was pretty clear that they were looking to, put me through a fast track to either a VP or an executive position. Exactly.
Yes.
So I obviously was very grateful for that opportunity. And then I went to my wife and I'm like, okay, so this looks like a great opportunity, but here's the deal. One, I'm not really sure if I want to move down to Charlotte. And then B, in order to make a good decision, maybe we should look around. Maybe there's other opportunities, because I hadn't looked around ever.
Yeah.
I've been at Philips for 7 years at that point. I'm like, let me look around and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then by happenstance, we had somebody that came into the escape room to do a room.
You're kidding. And it was Elon.
Yeah, it was Elon and Grimes. No, it was a guy.
There forever. So you said, I'll only let you out if you can never keep Elon stuck in an escape room. Sorry, that's blasphemy, guys. Not true.
It was a guy who worked at the service center in Devon, Pennsylvania, which is by Philly. And it was him and his girlfriend or wife, and the wife was friends with my wife. And so that's how they ended up at the escape room. And then the guy was like, yeah, I just heard they just opened a brand new warehouse around here. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, Tesla just opened a warehouse right down the road, like right around here. I'm like, no, then you're crazy.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm like, okay. So then we looked it up online. Literally, this warehouse opened, I'm not even kidding you, 2 minutes down the road from our escape room. We were on the same road, the same freaking road.
Yes.
And I'm like, whoa, okay, I had no idea this happened. They were open like a month prior. It opened in March 2017. I applied in like May 2017, April, May 2017.
Perfect. Yeah.
And the position was for an inventory control analyst. Okay. So that was a position. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, I'm a director of BI and pricing. It's going to be a pretty severe price cut, most likely. And I'm going to have to like step down the role, but it's freaking Tesla. Tesla. So I'm going to apply anyway. And then after like a week or so, they get back to me and they're like, hey, we looked at your resume. We looked at your background. It looks like you might be a good fit. Would you like to interview? I'm like, hey, are you sure this is real? Like, is this Bethlehem, Pennsylvania? We're talking about the same, is this Bethlehem, Palestine, or Israel, or is this Bethlehem, Pennsylvania? One of those. Like, no, it's Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Right? I'm like, great, cool. So I went in and I interviewed with with Greg and Christian, who were the folks that are running the facility, and we hit it off right away. And at that time, I had my Model S already. So we had my Tesla Model S. We bought it like. It was like probably like 6 months before the interview. So I already had a Tesla. So I roll up to the freaking
it's all meant to be, man.
Dude, it's crazy. Yeah, I roll up to the parking lot with the Model S, and the dude's like, "Oh, dude, you drive a Tesla?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I love this company." So like hit it off for like an hour. They made it very clear that even though it's an inventory control analyst position, like this is a big job. This is like you're literally going to be building dashboards, KPIs, and you're going to help us build out the entire network. I'm like, I hope you pay me enough for me to make the decision. And lo and behold, we landed in a good place. And because of because I was able to negotiate a significant percentage of my compensation was in stock. Nice. I was able to negotiate with that thought process, right? Yeah. I'm like, dude, if you guys can get me this much stock, I'll be more than happy to join because I know long term is going to pay off. Like I'm willing to take a cut now for the growth in the future. And lo and behold, it paid off. It paid off. Yeah, man. Crazy.
I mean, your knowledge of supply chain and inventory is so critical right now. This last 2 years, everybody should be watching your YouTube videos every day right now. It is like few people have that knowledge, and you were like friggin' running the show for the factory.
It was for the distribution network. I mean, we essentially, honestly, like the two of us did a lot of effort, man. It was essentially two people were doing the work of like 20 in a usual environment, and that's kind of how Tesla works. It's when you're building stuff from scratch, you don't have the luxury of getting an entire team to build out the thing for you, especially how Tesla was at the time, 2017. They were lean. So we really had to do some crazy stuff when we were making that distribution network from scratch, but man, it paid off. it paid off, and we laid out a groundwork for the next generation of the distribution network for Tesla. So couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Couldn't be happier.
And so it absolutely did. So did you go through the 2018, the FUD,
Oh, yeah.
Tesla might go under? Were you?
Yeah.
Did you believe it? Did you yourself think that the company might not make it through?
No, I was confident they would.
Okay.
I was confident they would because when I was surrounded by the people that you're surrounded by, you're like, there's no way this is going to fail. Like, there's way too many smart people.
Okay.
There's way too, and it was strange because I had the fortune of being inside the company, and I saw it with my own two eyes. You know, I could see what it was like inside.
Exactly.
So when you look at the thing that drove me nuts was that when you leave work and you have friends and family telling you that you should sell your stock and you should leave the company, and are you worried about your job? And then I go online and all the things I read is about how Elon's a nut job and the company you're working for is trash, and like all these people are like, it's a failing company. Like, it's hard to read that, but then on the flip side, I think that's what's beautiful about the Tesla community is that sort of the phoenix rises from the ashes. You had this super powerful, super passionate core group of community members, like your Robs, your Daves, your SMR. Like I'll go down the list and name them all. I mean, like literally Omar, incredible. Omar, you have K10, you have everybody. Kim, I could go on and on. You know, yourself, like everybody, every single person in that community was instrumental in ensuring that the truth was actually communicated out to the public. And when it came to at least people like me and others I can speak for on their behalf from the company, seeing that kind of support was instrumental in ensuring we believed that we're doing this for somebody. Like, even if it's just one person out there being passionate about Tesla, it made a huge difference, you know, because it's a very hard job. It's really, really hard to manage, especially back then. It was so freaking hard. So having that signal from the noise, you know, especially when it came to like the fandom and people that believed in the company, was extremely important in us really keeping the faith and ensuring that we can move forward. And then it was reassured by the fact that I was surrounded by the smartest people in the world, you know.
I watched your videos and I made fun of you in the very first video, but your third video, you said something that really just hit me and resonated with me so much. That was the one where you said that when you decided to leave Tesla, it's because that Tesla is not just about the company. It's not just about Elon. It is the community and the community that supports the mission. And that really, obviously, because I felt the same way as all the people that are watching this, we all feel the same way about the community and the mission. But specifically for me, that's what's driving me today is I want to showcase all the key people that have been participating, and other people want to know who they are and why they got started and how they got into it. And then this is like a movement, and the movement's growing, and it's only going to get 5 to 10 times bigger. Many of your videos and others, we're all shaking our heads. We're talking robots now. We're talking about robotaxi, general AI. It's like magic is coming every week.
It's bananas.
And you worked in the most wonderful company, and then for you to make that decision, it must have been odd. And I know you have one of your videos and several that you explain that, but can you just kind of walk me through again what was going in your mind? Why would you ever leave an amazing company? And I know it burns people out probably. You put in all your effort into it and you're making some money, but what made you decide, hey, I'm going to leave?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yeah. I mean, I can tell you it was probably the hardest decision of my life, to be completely honest, because you know, when you're somebody that's been so passionate about the mission, so passionate about the company, you believe in the company so much, you almost come to identify as a Tesla employee. You know, like that was a thing that I struggled with for a long time. Was like, if I leave, I'm no longer a Tesla employee. Okay. I'm no longer someone who's like which I don't know if is healthy. You know what I'm saying? So like mentally, I don't know if that's healthy. But it really came out like I was just so. It was exactly that. It's like, if I leave, then like if it's somebody that really wanted this job, like they're gonna look at me and be like, "You're such an idiot." Like, you know how many people want to be in your shoes?
Right, exactly.
You know how many people want to be in your shoes? But I think the thing for me, man, ultimately the thing for me that really helped me decide was, I'd really try to look from it from a perspective of, okay, so you've put in a little bit over 4 years at this
Yeah.
time, and
That's a
you've
good number.
helped, you've helped sort of build this incredible distribution network, and you have a roster that is stacked with talent that you've personally mentored. You
Yeah.
know, I've been so fortunate to be able to lead and mentor, dude, probably tens, maybe 120 people directly, like
When I watch your
directly.
videos and I read the comments, the number
Yeah,
one thing that keeps popping out is you must be a damn good leader. They just see it, they can feel it in your voice and all that. You still need to prove it to me, buddy. So take me out one
sure,
day.
of
But right
course, yeah, let's
now,
go.
you're a cool dude. You're fun at
Sure.
parties. I gotta see the leadership. No, I'm kidding. But I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is something that people see in you right away, and you can see that in the comments. Like they can
yeah.
tell that you're a fantastic leader. But okay,
I
that's
appreciate that.
rewarding. You had that,
I
yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, no, that's very sweet of you to say. Thank you. No, it's one of those things where I had it. I view it as a privilege. You know, like being a
Yeah,
leader, like being in a position of leadership is a privilege. Like people, I think too often there's way too many not great leaders out in the world where they're
yeah,
not utilizing that position to their fullest potential.
yeah.
In the end, a leader is somebody who empowers. Like
Yeah, well, I love that
if
you
you're
called yourself a mentor because that is
yeah,
the job. And if you
it's
don't want to be a
important.
mentor, then you shouldn't really be a leader. It's not just about telling people what to do;
Yeah,
it's building them.
it's
Yeah,
passing on your knowledge. It's like
yeah,
you like shame on you if you don't want everyone that's viewing you as their mentor. Like if they're not better than you within like say 2 to 4 years, you're not doing your job right. You're
yeah.
just not. You have to get somebody in there and get them mentored up to be better than you. Like that's the whole purpose of being a leader. Okay.
Hmm.
So like from that perspective, I'm like, okay, cool. So I got that going. So great. So I built out this team, and I'm surrounded myself by other great mentors that are mentoring me, and we have this amazing network of people. We have a bunch of talent going through, and around the 2021 September 17th 2021 was my last day at Tesla.
Yeah,
Okay, and
you've made bank by then.
I was very I was so fortunate to be where I am, you know, like
10x, 20x
from
of
a
the stock.
financial
Yeah.
from a financial perspective. Like we're very fortunate, you know, we're very fortunate to be where we're at, and we don't have any kids, my wife and
Yeah.
I. And I'm like, okay. So I approach my wife and I'm like, okay, so here's the deal. I've been at the company for, at that time would have been around 4 years,
For
maybe a little
years.
bit less than 4 years. And I'm like, we're in a really good spot financially. We don't have any kids. Um, like, and I love my job, but
Yeah.
there was something inside of me that was, there was sort of this itch that was telling me like, hey, like do you really want to be a Tesla employee forever? Like is
Yeah.
this really who you are as a person? Like
Hmm.
what else is there about you that defines who you are? You know,
Hmm.
like who are you as a person? And with COVID happening not long
Right.
before that, you know, COVID
Yeah.
2020 to 2021,
Yeah.
crazy time period that allowed me to really sit down and like really weigh in my head. I'm like, okay, like who am I? What do I want to do in my life? You know, Tesla, again, incredible company, but like you've been embedded in this thing for 10 years. You've
It
been
could have gone. It
embedded.
could have gone either way, though, right? Sometimes people with COVID, they'll go, "Hey, I gotta settle, focus and just stay."
Yes.
But
Yeah,
you saw that as a you reevaluate my life and where do I want to go. It's
exactly.
interesting that you chose that
Exactly.
path. Yeah.
Yeah. And ultimately I think the thing that was extremely attractive to me was true freedom. True
Mm.
freedom. You know,
Yeah.
for the last 10 years,
Yeah.
I had been grinding so freaking hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally went from nothing to everything. You know,
Yeah.
like I really view like I have everything I could ever need and then some. You know,
Yeah.
and I put in so much effort. You know, in 10 years, a lot of people will say, well, that's not as long as 20 years or 40 years. Agreed, but it's still 10 freaking years. You know,
Yeah.
and for the 4 to 5 years previous me joining Tesla, I was doing
Yeah.
multiple
Two
things at
jobs. That's
once.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like
Yes.
working 120 hour free. Like if I'm not sleeping, I'm working. Like it's
Right.
as simple as that. And I had no
No.
social life,
Right.
so I'm grinding freaking hard. And so I'm sure, you know, reflecting back, burnout was 100% a factor as well, because
Yeah.
it wasn't even necessarily just Tesla. It was just the things that I decided to embark on, and
Hmm.
the fact that I had, you know, issues with anxiety that I had. So there was just a lot of things that I went through, and I think I viewed it as a gift from the universe. I'm like, if the
Mm.
universe is giving you good health where you are right now, you have financial independence, You've relocated to this amazing new city that's growing like crazy.
So
You
you're talking
are
about moving to Austin, right?
Austin, correct?
And
Yeah,
how
that
did
was another
that
thing that
decision
happened.
come? Yeah,
Yeah, it was during COVID. During COVID, and Elon announced a Gigafactory Texas.
yeah,
And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to take the next step in my career, it
gotcha.
probably makes sense to go down to the
It
headquarters in
does make
Austin.
sense. Yeah,
So and the real estate prices down here were
right.
similar than Pennsylvania at the time, and
Yeah,
we're
at the
looking
time.
to buy a bigger house. And I'm like looking in Austin. I'm like, bro, we can get something bigger for cheaper in Austin. What? So we're
Man,
like,
I should
no
just follow
brainer.
wherever you go. You seem to like there's some sort of the universe is favoring you. It's go
I
to
don't
Austin.
know, man. I don't
Perfect.
know. It's just stuff lines up, man. Like stuff
Yeah,
lines up, and
that's
I
the way it
think
is.
ultimately the big lesson that I've learned in my life is that if there's an opportunity that shows itself that
Yeah,
seems like a no brainer, you
yeah.
better freaking do it.
Just go.
You better do it. And so I've been very happy to have that inclination. I
Mhm.
would say I'm not risk averse.
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable taking risks, extremely comfortable taking risks, and I think that's part of the reason why I've had the successes that I've had. But at the same
It's
time, I know there's an
shocking that you're a math and physics person who's not, you could have, if you became an accountant, you're much more like, follow rules and
yeah,
stick in the box, but you're like,
yeah. It's almost like I don't even view myself as like I majored in math, but like I said, I was not a
you're
good
not a
student. Dude, I
mathematician.
graduated with a 2.7 GPA in mathematics. I was not
That's a
a
universe
good
telling
student.
me, don't be a
Yeah,
mathematician.
yeah. I think ultimately, honest, like if I'm gonna be 100% honest, I think what my superpower is that I think I was always a strong. I was very strong from a like EQ, emotional.
Yep,
Like I think I have
exactly.
a
You could
very
tell that.
high
Yeah.
EQ. I think,
Yep.
but because of the transition that I had in my life,
Mm,
it was very jarring for me.
mm,
It almost put me in a situation where I became like very like bookish, like very like
mm-hmm,
almost like nerdy when it came to specific topics, and in
mm-hmm,
front of a computer all the time.
mm-hmm.
So I was able to exercise my analytical brain as well. So the
Gotcha.
IQ
Makes sense.
part of it.
Yeah.
And I think I have this sort of weird hybrid where I have
Yes.
these two
This
things that I'm
makes you good.
competent at,
Yeah.
and I'm so thankful to have it. But I think ultimately, if I think about why I am where I'm at, I think it's those
Yeah.
two things combined,
Exactly.
and everything leads up to where I'm at now.
Yeah,
Everything
I
that
mean
happened.
I mean you've made major changes along the way here, industries, jobs, locate
Yeah,
where you moved, and then you make another one.
yeah,
You're gonna quit Tesla, and you're gonna become a YouTube star.
by
How did
accident.
that happen?
Dude, by literally like by accident.
How did it happen by accident? Come on.
I swear to God, dude, when I left
Yeah,
Tesla,
yeah.
I literally said, let's just leave Tesla and I'm just going to just do nothing.
You did it
I'm
without
just
knowing what you were going to do next. You did it just
zero.
simply, I'm going to go and do nothing for a while, and I'm going to
Yeah,
decide what hits me, my passion. You could have become a Metallica rock star.
exactly. Yeah,
I
I could
still
have
think
been
that
on
that's in your.
stage rocking out like a maniac. You know what I'm
I
saying?
still think that that's what you have in your head.
Yeah, I know. Like still to this day, I'm like, I got to be on stage. But like, but I think ultimately that the way I thought about it was like, if you just give yourself the luxury, like you have the luxury of having a blank slate in your mid
If you have it and
30s.
you happen to have it, that's very fortunate. Yeah,
You know what I'm
you have to
saying?
take advantage of it. That's what you're saying. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Like when is the last time,
That's
like
a good
what
point.
percentage of the population gets to
Yeah,
live in Austin, Texas, financially secure with
yes,
the ability to just like push a reset button
yeah.
in your life and just see what comes up?
Okay. Well,
Like
this is the question I was asking you earlier because I'm going through it myself where I want
sure,
to, and it's not like I'm very good at doing this too. I don't
sure.
doubt my own intuition and so forth, but I'm very curious how somebody goes, sets on a reset, not, like at least you have the time to sit and think and ask yourself, what is my why? What do I want to accomplish in this world? What makes me happy? And what do I want to do? What am I good at?
Yeah.
So to walk me through that thinking in your head and how did you finally decide that you're going to join the Tesla community?
Yeah, I mean, like I still don't have it figured out though. That's part of it
Mm.
too.
Hmm.
Like the Tesla community, like me becoming a YouTuber,
Yeah.
the way I view it is that week 5 I was so week 5 of me quitting Tesla, I was literally losing my mind. Like my wife was
You're
like,
not
if
meant
you
to be at
don't
home.
she's like, if you don't find something to do, I'm going to shoot you in the face.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot you in the face.
That's right.
And I'm like, yes, ma'am. I'll have to, because I was like literally walking around the house, like just like,
I know, I've been there,
like poking at her, like, do something. And she's like, how about you do something? Okay. So I was losing my mind. You know, you're grinding so hard for 10 years. You don't know what the hell you want to do. So,
exactly. You're not meant for that. You found that out. At least that's one good thing, right? You found out,
exactly.
Hey, I don't want to not do anything. So
that's one. So that's the first thing I found out was like, okay, I am somebody that has to be doing something. Confirmed. Beautiful. Whew, okay. Relief. All right. Thank God. So then what happened then is, we were talking about it before, when I was on YouTube, because I'm still watching Tesla stuff, you know, like because I'm still passionate about the company. Joe Justice comes up in one of the videos, and you know, he's like $1 million stock price, whatever it was, like some crazy thing that he had that he conveyed.
No. Sorry if I'm wrong, but I thought that his very first video that got everybody all excited, me as well, was the rate of change, the ability for Tesla to.
You're right.
And I think maybe in the same video, was that the same one where he basically said because of that
I think at the end,
Okay.
I think so. I think it was. I might be wrong, but anyway, it was his first Joe Justice video on the best moment on history, Alejandro's channel. Great guy, by the way. And he had the interview, and I heard Joe talk about his experience at Tesla. He worked at Tesla for a little bit. He's an agile background person. He's talking about how there's a connection between agile and how Tesla does things, and about how Tesla's so advanced. And I'm like, dude, like I experienced that. I did. Let me just get on front of a camera and like reinforce that idea, because like I want to legitimize this sort of message that says that Tesla is a very unique place. But I'm going to give you my perspective from a different part of the world that's not manufacturing. That's
you manifested Joe Justice to exist, and then to say that video all for your benefit.
I sure as hell didn't. It just freaking happened. And then when I put out the video and we talked about it, you know, I'm like, okay, so I made a video, and I'm like, okay, let me see if we can get some traction. So I posted it on the Tesla Motors Club forum. And I'm like, yeah, I used to work for Tesla. I did a video, blah, blah, blah. I started sharing it around. I may have posted it, I think, on the subreddit too, on the Tesla subreddit as well. I'm like, hey, I used to work for Tesla. Check this out.
So this proves that you weren't trying to become a YouTube star. You were just posting it up on Reddit. And
dude, I was like, literally like, here's my story. Like, here's my story. Have it. And I'm like, and then in my head, I'm like, okay, so it might get a few thousand views. I might get like a couple hundred subscribers. That'd be cool, right? But then next thing I know is like people start like coming in, and then I guess SMR starts, like SMR. The thing that really took me to the next level was
Stephen Mark.
Stephen Mark Ryan. Stephen Mark
Ryan. Oh, Steve Mark. I'm sorry. SMR. You're that good a friend with him. You call him SMR.
SMR. Everybody calls him SMR. He's got his own. That's what you know. You've made it on YouTube is when you have your own shorthand. You know what I'm saying? SMR. Anyway, Stephen Mark Ryan.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so a lot of things you say I don't believe, because you're saying that you did not know that you have star power, that you would look good on camera, that you would sound good on camera, on the audio, that you wouldn't like be so magnetic on the screen.
Really? I swear to God. Let me tell you.
Didn't even cross your mind that maybe I could become a YouTube star.
let me tell you. I think you're giving me too much credit. Let me tell you exactly how this went down. So I went to my wife. Again, my wife is like my guiding star. She's the most incredible person ever.
I met her, and I was more impressed with her than you at the time. I told her.
Me too.
I messaged her and I said, "You're a power couple, but I think that the power's on this side."
I agree. Anything good that's ever happened in my life is because of her. Trust me.
She's very charismatic, and she doesn't say as many words as you do.
Yeah, and she does it, and she very precise. Yes, very precise person. I love.
And that was at a bar.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But I went up to her. I'm like, listen, like I saw this video on YouTube. Like, what do you think about me going on YouTube? You know, like doing like a video and whatever. She's like, yeah, that sounds good. Like, you know, mm-hmm. I mean, she's my wife. She's gonna be like, yeah, you look good. You know, like you should go on YouTube.
No,
you have a face for it.
Other people would say, yeah,
that's true.
That's
if they were honest, I guess that's true. That's fair. But but like, you know, she's like, yeah, that'd be fine. And I'm like, you know, when have you not done something when you wanted to do it? And I'm like, that's a good point. Like, so I'm just gonna sit down and do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try it and see what happens. And then, you know, I think if we're gonna talk about the voice, like I had a podcast when I was younger, you know, so I know I don't know if my voice is good or bad, but I know I have a unique voice. I know like the way my voice sounds is unique, and I know typically that's good for some sort of like podcast format. Okay, so I get that. But when I was like recording my videos, I never had any idea of what the like what it was gonna be, or like what people thought. All my whole perspective was, I would just want to present. I want to present my knowledge to pass it on to the people, because I think it's going to be very valuable for investors, and people that are fans of the company are going to eat it up, because who wouldn't want the opportunity to work at Tesla and see what happened. But I didn't envision 20,000 subscribers. I thought like 2,000 views, or maybe like 5,000 views. I didn't imagine this incredible community that has popped up. But once it started forming, I started seeing like the potential of what this thing could be, which could be a community for yet another community for Tesla people that can sit together, and I can use that community to pass on all my learnings, like everything that I've learned, not just in Tesla, but exactly. That's what I'm really passionate about. That's my true passion, is I think passing on what I know to people that find it helpful, and then having conversations with people that will help me also find what those next connections are supposed to be in my brain. And then once I figure out those connections, then I pass it on. So it's almost like I want to use what, I think I have a unique perspective. I've been through unique things in my life. And if I can connect those two things together and somehow make it into something that's digestible, that people find value in, and pass it on, then that's my calling. And so that's what I'm going to do.
Don't take this the wrong way.
I'm going to.
Because I've been so much of a Farzad fan, and I don't want to look like a fanboy.
Please do.
But I was very impressed with one of your videos that I saw that I can't remember which one it was, but something happened as always. Something always happens in Twitter. You spit it out the next day. I think it was you have an incredible one where you're talking about the AI day, not AI day, sorry, Masterplan Part 3.
Sure.
And then your predictions for mining. And I loved that you came up with it, and it seemed effortless. It's so between you and Dave Lee, both of you just seem to be able to spit these things out, and very valuable and very unique approach. So I don't want you to think that you're anywhere near Dave Lee level.
No, definitely not. Dave Lee's a master.
He's the master.
He's the master. He is.
You're getting there. You're getting close.
I was gonna make an age joke with him, but I'm not going to, because he's the man. I've actually hung out with him. We played tennis before.
I know. I saw that.
You
guys played tennis. Did he beat you?
Yeah, he crushed me, dude. And he barely even
sweat. Then how can you make an age joke if he beats you then? Okay.
Yeah, crushed me. He's a beast. Yeah.
Okay, well, you need to introduce me to him. He needs to talk to me. I'm the same age as him, and my thinking is I'm the same age as Dave. We have the exact same kind of like when I hear his story and how we got into Tesla, and I ask myself, why didn't I do what he did? Why didn't I get in there and start doing what he did? No, it's the same joke as everybody.
Man. Yeah.
No, but it's the same joke everybody says is, hey, I came up with that, that toilet idea, and I could have been a billionaire, but no.
Sure.
All right, so you launch your video, and then it took off, and I think it was 2 weeks. You had 2,000 followers. And you guys might have been going, "This is amazing. This is okay. There's something here." And then, did you decide at that point, this is going to be full time? I'm going to do, because the other thing I love about what you're doing in your channel is you're doing all sorts of things. You're trying out community chats. You're doing live streaming. You do one-on-one interviews. You've done it all. You're doing everything. You have different topics too. So it's like that's why I'm thinking either you had this all planned, or it's kind of like just testing everything out.
It's just happening. So my guiding principle. Happening. It's just happening, dude. Like my
4 community members call you up and goes, "Hey, can we talk to you?" And then you go, "Okay."
Yeah, dude. I learned this from Dave, and I was kind of this way, but Dave, sort of reinforced this idea for me. Is so the way he structures his life is that he ensures that he has as little going on as possible, so he can capitalize on the things he wants to do. Right. And so this is the way that resonates with me, because if I'm going to have the freedom of time that I have now, I better do that. Right. So even though it appears that, I definitely try to put out content every day during the week, and nothing on the weekends, Monday through Friday. I try to keep it to say, 2 to 3 hours maximum. Yeah. So each day. So I try to keep it within that time frame, thinking of the idea, recording, editing, thumbnail, title. That's all 2 to 3
I am so
hours.
impressed with you. You just interviewed Kim Paquette this morning, and then the
Sure,
video came out like 2 hours later.
sure.
I interviewed her 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't put it together. And I'm like,
What are you
okay,
waiting for?
I have to learn that. I have to ask her, how does he do this? Because you just like it's like boom, it came out. I was like,
I
damn
minimize
it,
edits. So I do no edits on my interviews, right? And so I do that on purpose because
yeah.
like one, I
I
think if you
know.
don't,
It's funny. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but it's
no, it's fine.
hilarious when you do these videos of yours, and at the very beginning, check. Okay, is everybody
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of YouTube star does that? It's like, come on, but it actually makes you look like you're actually like again authentic, and you're
Because
just
that's what I'm doing. That's who I am. And I think vulnerability, like I think not enough people are comfortable being vulnerable. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Do
And
you know
that's
the day that I fell in love with Tesla Joy
yeah.
is her second video that she did. So it's exactly like you. The very first video is hilariously funny. We made fun of it. And she goes, "It's Joy's World. Welcome to Joy's World." And she's just in her car. The
Okay.
second video she did it without makeup.
Nice.
And when I saw that, I was like, okay,
That's
so
great.
this is a person that is willing to go on camera without makeup
That's
and
great.
just, again, authentic.
Be yourself.
And I just thought, okay, that's a star.
Yeah, I mean, being yourself is very, very important. And that's like my thing with my YouTube is like, okay, so I'm really trying not to make it a bigger deal than it is, whatever it means. Like, I don't know what 20,000 subscribers mean. All I know is that there's 20,000 people that decided that they want to hear from me often, which
And I attended one of
blows
your
my
live
mind.
streams last week, and it was like you asked the question, "Where are you calling from?" And it was literally the entire world
The
and
entire world.
weird locations too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, Estonia, Austria, Russia, South
like,
Africa,
there's
Australia,
nobody else in
India.
the U.S. except me, and I'm like, this is so boring. I'm the only Seattleite.
Dude, it's like everywhere, it's everywhere. And
I was shocked with that, and I'm like wanting to know what is your. I'm interrupting you so much, but it's
no,
just
you're fine,
curious to
dude.
me. Who is your audience, and how did you know who they are now?
So what's becoming extremely cool as of late is I'm starting to build. So from the very beginning, what I did is I set up a Patreon and a YouTube with the intention of saying, like, I never asked for anyone to donate. At the end, I say, if you found it valuable and you want to support the channel, support it. I don't care. Like, whatever you want to do, I'm still going to create content for everybody. So there's no exclusive content for Patreon members. But the one thing that I'm starting to realize is, so my Patreon, we have a private Discord, and that Discord is becoming a little bit more, a little bit bigger, and we're becoming a lot more. We're talking a lot more together, and we had the idea of, okay, let's start making like these community forums to try and include the whole community somehow.
Wonderful.
So, for example, this Friday we're going to do a live stream. We're going to live stream the community forum. It's not going to be pre-recorded anymore. A, because I think that's going to create even more inclusiveness, and B, I don't have to freaking edit it. It just goes straight to YouTube, so I don't have to even worry about editing. So that saves me time. So, but within that community, I'm starting to talk to these people every day. We get on the Zoom together and we record it together, and I get to see their faces, what they look like.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that these are the kind of people that if I met them in person, I'd be like, I want to be your friend. Like, you're freaking cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
You're a cool guy. You're a cool girl or whatever. And I think it's starting to attract. What I'm starting to find out is that I think your community ends up being people that you just would end up vibing with anyway. But because you're on the internet, you are able to essentially put yourself out there for the entire world. And so what that tells me is that regardless of where you started or what country you're from, there are enough shared experiences as a human that brings us together in some way. And that's, I think, the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced is that. It's like, wow, like you're telling me, like, I have people from South Africa, I have people from Poland, I have people from the States, I got people from South America, right? We got people from everywhere. But we get in a room together, and I'm like, holy crap, like we could.
They're all
sit
very
here and talk for
intelligent
hours.
comments. They're all very intelligent questions, and it's wonderful. So, yeah, it was very eye opening. Like, you have a global audience, and that was a shock to me. It was like,
it's fascinating.
You're a long way away from Bethlehem.
I know, dude. It's like, Dude, like the whole concept of the warehouse even opening up in Bethlehem, nowhere, Pennsylvania is insane. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but
Yeah,
like again, like I'm on a wave. I know I'm on a
yeah,
wave. I know I'm right in life, period. Like I've been
yeah.
so fortunate and lucky. Shame on me if I don't capitalize on that wave.
Enjoy it too. Yeah,
You know?
that's good.
Exactly. Like shame on me if I
Wow.
don't do that.
So okay, so what? Where do you see this going? I mean, it is a lot of fun. It's skyrocketing, like meteoric rise. I made a joke in one of my Tesla spaces when you joined, and I said, "Here's the three, celebrities. Do you want their autograph? Why did you come up on stage? You're just a newbie." We all kind of know. I know you're gonna like skyrocket past. But what's your yeah? What's your success? What would be really fun? 5 years from now, let's say. Where do you want to go?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like that for me, I really don't pay attention to the subscriber count at all.
Yeah,
Like I know what it is, but like to me it's like I view everyone as an equal regardless of who they are, where they're from, what they do. Like even to the like if say I came across say Elon for example in person, like
yeah,
I don't really view him as somebody that's like here or there or whatever. It's just another human being. You know, that's another human being who happens to be very smart, but that's another human being. So I think ultimately what I really want to do with my channel is to is to showcase that that is really what's happening here is that we're all human beings. Like we're all people. We're all people with shared experiences, and even though we have this thing in common that's Tesla, like how can we bring all of us together more,
yeah,
especially with the division that's been happening as of late with everything that's going crazy. If I
yeah.
think long term, is like how can I be a how can my platform be something that will really showcase the beauty of being a human being, like and how
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
of us are connected, and like very similar to the sort of thing you're trying to like, you're trying to like dig into the people's like who they are as people. You're trying to really bring out like the humanity in the person, which is a beautiful thing, and I'm really happy that you're doing it. But I think like over time is like how do I create a community that can really add to that conversation in some way. And the if I'm thinking like say in the next 6 months to a year,
Yeah.
if I have like I'm trying to like formulate, okay, what am I really supposed to be doing here and how do I get there? I think leveraging the community forums, I think is going to be a big
Wonderful.
way to get there. So like really making this as big as humanly possible so that as
Yeah.
many people can take part of those conversations and share those experiences. Because one of the things I'm finding from this community forum too is that you have these people that live in different countries or different areas, and they can't talk about Tesla with anybody in their circle
Exactly.
because they're that crazy Tesla person. They're
Exactly.
like, just shut up. It's enough about Tesla, you know?
Yeah.
But like online, they get a chance to like connect with like you and I, for example. You and I
Yes.
can talk about Tesla all day and we'll be fine with it. But we can't go outside and talk. They'll think we're insane. And they're probably right, to be completely honest, you know? But like how can I use my
Yeah.
platform to enable all those that really want to be passionate about that with other fans,
Yeah.
but also like maybe give them access to myself as much as humanly possible, your Dave Lees, your
Yeah.
Robs, and everybody else. Like how can we create a bigger thing like the TeslaCon experience,
Yes.
the Giga
That was
Texas
amazing. Yeah.
experience, the Clive experience?
Yeah.
Those are overwhelming beautiful experiences. How can we make that a
Expand
thing
that.
that
Yeah.
happens all the time,
I love
you
it.
know?
I mean, obviously, I think that Elon and Tesla as a whole, not just Elon, but all the employees, it's a movement. It's that's why it's everybody's so passionate. It starts off with the mission, and then it starts off with the excellence and involvement of everybody, inclusion, and then this
Hmm.
community is wonderful. And actually, in a way, it's actually good that we had the enemy, the Tesla Q. It bonded a lot of
Yeah.
people, and we came out with scars. And then
Yeah.
the audience is growing. It's growing and growing. More people are excited about Tesla, and more people are excited. Forget about Tesla. I mean, just EVs in general, and the movement for a better humanity in the world. Um, and that's why I'm wanting to have a bigger voice now, exactly like you. Is I feel like in 5 years. So first of all, I and I know you said this as well. It's like we are witnessing history.
Yeah.
It's like the day that I first saw the internet, the day that I watched and stood in line for the iPhone,
Mm.
the first time that you saw just any little thing that you just knew is going to be big,
Mm,
And that's the future that we all want. And we are
mm,
seeing that happening now. Every
yeah.
week, something new is happening. And I want to be part of it. I want to record it. And that's why I create my lists, my milestone lists. I think that it's important to have, somebody who kind of keeps track of these key milestones and its history and then what's coming up in the future. But
Yeah.
that's what gets me. So you got me all passionate again. See, thank you. Just hanging out with you and I
Nice.
absorb your energy. So
That's
let's talk
great.
about Elon a little bit. I'm going to ask you some questions about your opinions about Tesla. I
Yeah.
know people watching, you should watch your videos, your YouTube, you dive deep into it. But, just way I like to structure these calls, these kind of interviews with you is, the first bit is get to know your background, who you are, then get right into some of your key opinions, and then
Yeah.
get right back into kind of a little bit more about how you think and where you think yourself. So
Yeah.
Elon and Twitter, Elon and politics. At what point could Elon do something that crosses the line for your own moral compass?
Ooh. Okay.
The reason I ask that question is that as I do my Twitter spaces and I'm talking to people, it has come up several times. Long-term investor, big fan of the company. He's crossed my moral compass. I need to step back or pull off, or I'm no longer a supporter, or you know. But it's
I
not
mean,
widespread, of course. But it's curious to
yeah, I
see
mean that's really
where do you
broad,
think?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So the way I think about that is that short of Elon doing something illegal, why would I be upset at him doing something? You know
okay,
what I'm saying? Like he's an individual. Like in the end, like we're all individuals, and yeah, we
yeah,
might make mistakes and say stupid things, but if it's not illegal, why are we so like man, like how do I say this without like sounding like a complete like fanboy person to where because I'm not saying Elon can't do no wrong. That's not what I'm
No,
saying
I
at
know,
all.
but actually,
Okay.
what was cool was that even earlier in this call, you already said that if you met him, he's just another guy. You're not gonna like you already said that you're not like a worshiper of Elon's. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I just touched his foot.
Yeah, there has to be compassion for people when they say something stupid or they make a mistake in your eyes, right? I
Yeah,
think that's one thing that's maybe missing from this whole thing is that I think people are perhaps sometimes they because Elon is could be viewed as such a maybe a step above where mere mortals sit kind of thing
absolutely.
that
Yeah,
perhaps if he oversteps in their eyes he kind of like falls off the pedestal and he becomes yet another person and perhaps those people are unhappy with that but like if from my perspective he's always been a human being, he's always
yeah,
been a person, he's never been perfect, but he's somebody that's obviously passionate about making humanity better, and if he's going through a path of discovering what that actually is and he's wading into things that perhaps people are uncomfortable with, that doesn't immediately tell me that it's somehow going to cross a moral compass. For me, it's like he has to do something like illegal. Like if like for example, if it was found guilty of sexual assault, if it
yeah,
was found guilty of
yeah,
embezzlement, if it was found guilty of fraud,
yeah,
like okay, great, terrible person. I hope he gets what he deserves, and then after he gets what he deserves, then we can resume the conversation, you know. But
yeah.
short of that, I just view him as another person. I give him the same level of compassion as I would anybody else. I don't
Oh,
know if that answers
nicely.
your question.
No, it's fantastic. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, you've answered some of these already in your interviews, but I'd like to kind of like understand what do you think is going to be in Master Plan Part 3?
Mining.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
love it. You're
Yeah.
very clear about that.
At the very least, it's going to be like a very strong partnership with a mining company of some sorts where Tesla controls the supply. Like for example, maybe they don't per se build their own machinery for mining and they build their own things, but they become an exclusive buyer from a mining company, like at the very least, where they secure 80% plus of the supply. Some sort of plan that
Yeah,
says we have built out the supply chain
yeah,
from the beginning. That says we have every single raw material secured. Here's who we're partnering with. Here's how we're going to help them get there. This is what their commitment is. This is what our commitment to purchase is, and it all gets laid out. Because unless you have that, you can't grow. Like you just can't. And especially if everyone else, your Ford, GMs, Volkswagens, if everybody else actually takes this stuff seriously and they really want to start cranking out as many EVs, excuse me, as we need, then supply becomes by far the biggest bottleneck. And the only way to solve that is by increasing your supply.
Yeah.
And if you want to have epic scale, you have to have epic supply.
Yeah. I believe you, and I agree with you. I mean, you can almost see the signals and hints when they create the factories, and they talk about how input comes here, output comes there. And you can see that the input is going to be minerals, right? They just come in that way.
Exactly.
So today, Gary Black and Mayer, they had a little Twitter exchange. And Gary was saying that when the stock split is announced, you're going to see a 5% increase in the Tesla stock price above the S&P 500. And so then they bet a dinner.
Okay.
So we're going to make a bet.
Nice. Okay.
If mining appears in the Masterplan 3, I'll buy you a dinner.
Sure. We'll go to
McDonald's.
I'll
send you a gift certificate to Chuck E. Cheese. I'm just kidding, but something that if not, you send me that gift card, okay?
I want to make my statement very broad. Tesla is going to solve the supply problem. Let's just put it that way, so I can secure my dinner.
Well, it can't. It can't be as broad as the word mining will appear. Okay.
Yeah. All right. They're going to get into the mining game for sure.
Are you going to buy a Tesla bot when it first comes out for $25,000?
Yes,
I will too. Absolutely,
for sure. Dude, only to have him as a prop in my freaking in like my videos.
$25,000.
Just hell yeah, I don't care.
The way I think of it was, let's say that all it can do is like, it can like wash your dishes or it can vacuum. If it can do those things, and it does it for 2 hours, I'm gonna get it to. My joke has been, and I've repeated this many times, I'm gonna make it fold napkins for the next 22 hours, and I'm gonna make a couple $1,000 a month. Selling those napkins, you know what I mean? Like if it can do that, it can do something that you put it to work.
People will find value.
Sell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude. Like my thing is like if it can fold laundry, I'll pay $25,000.
So in my door, I'm gonna get cotton coming in my door, and then out my back door is gonna be folded napkins. You see?
Hell yeah! Look at that. You got it all figured out. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the bot for sure. It's gonna be such a cool. It's gonna be such a cool piece of tech, and. I can't wait for it. I'm very excited.
I mean, I'm so excited about Tesla Bot. It's even like about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm diving into. I started diving into physics and astrophysics, and that's my interest, multiple realities. But now it's going to be deep dive into robotics, and so it's it's just so exciting. Really, really exciting.
Very exciting.
What are you most excited for? So what kind of technology are you most excited for from Tesla in the next 5 years? What is it? Is it energy? Is it FSD? Is it robotaxi? Is it the bot? Is it,
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the AI piece for sure. I think the AI piece is because it has multiple implications, right? You have FSD, you got the bot.
That's smart.
Those are the two primary ones. So I think how Tesla really fully transitions from a hardware company to a fully fledged hardware and AI company, because right now they're working towards it. You can make a sort of argument that FSD is at the point now where Tesla could be called a full-fledged AI company. But
do you think so? When does that happen?
I think once robotaxi is live and you can actually use it in a city and like pay to ride a robotaxi, that's the threshold for me that Tesla is now.
At the very least, they'll be considered a software company.
At the very least. But right now they're a software company.
Yeah. What I was thinking about it was the problem is that they have a major problem. And the problem is that in order to be called not a car company, you need to have some revenue that is at least, and I made up the number, let's say 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is that the car company revenue is going to keep growing exponentially.
Yeah.
So they might not be able to get a 10% of robotaxi revenue unless it does that, which it will. But saying they're always chasing the car company revenue.
Yeah, I mean it's a good problem to have. But here's the deal. But if you take the Tesla total software AI revenue and you, as a percentage of the total business, it might be say 8% as an example, or 5%. But what is the raw total? Is it, if it's $100 billion? What's the next runner-up that's generating?
Or I think revenue? You were going with the gross margin, right? Because it's going to be the gross margin is ridiculous.
Whatever thing is, like, even if it's revenue or gross margin, like the percentage total for Tesla versus its car sales, it might be small. But like if you take that raw number of whatever gross profit or revenue compared to the next biggest company that's in that field, they're probably 95% market share. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
talking Apple level stuff here, and
exactly.
like when they go, our service revenue is equivalent of like the sixth largest country in the world.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, it's
And you're
only
not
five
yet a
percent of our
service company.
sales, but
You're still a
yeah,
iPhone company.
right. Exactly. It's crazy. It's crazy. Once you get to big numbers, big things happen. You know.
Yeah. The reason I think that this is critical and this important is, you're looking at the community, the investor community to make that distinction. And they will only do that. And once they do, then that's when the PE rises, the redefinition of the company changes, and that's
Yeah.
where the stock price will move.
Sure.
Because I think far too many, even all my friends and all that, they still think this is a car company. They're very afraid that they're not going to win the low end car, and they're just going to get 10% of the market. That's how they think. So they have to be convinced at one point this is not a car company.
A low end car doesn't exist today. Like I think
No.
that's one thing that's missing, right? It's like what a low end car doesn't exist. Like with inflation happening,
Yeah.
like what's the cheapest new car you can buy? Like 30,000? You know what I'm saying?
So
So
when
like
is Tesla going to spit out their compact car?
um that's your question. Like when do I think that's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Um so I think it's realistic. I mean, it's going to require. It's like Shanghai too could be it. So I have a theory. So I talked to Dave about this before, Dave Lee, and I think it's within the context of robotaxi and $25,000 car. Like those two things are two separate products, but I think they get launched around the same time. So
So yeah, it was a trick question.
okay, why?
Because if you had said any date, you're wrong, in my
Okay,
opinion. Because my opinion is there is no compact car. It's going to be a robotaxi car. We're not going to sell this car to individuals. They might sell it to fleet managers, but you and I are not going to be able to buy a $25,000
I think they
compact
will.
car.
I think they
Well,
will.
that's another bet there. That's another dinner that you're going to owe me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Can I tell you
why
why?
would
Can I
well?
tell you
Let
why?
me tell you why on my side first.
Go ahead. You're the one interviewing me. No, I'm kidding.
I
Go
get to decide.
ahead. Go ahead.
Why would you, if you're Tesla, why would you sell a $25,000 car to an average consumer, and you're going to make great gross margin of 35%? Great. When you can use that as a robotaxi and make $250,000 per year, I don't need to do that. And then if you go back from first principles of Elon, going, what is his main goal? The main goal is transition to sustainable energy. Selling cars is not going to get us there. Even when we get to 20 million cars a year, it ain't going to do it yet. How do I accelerate? So number one, I'm going to partner with as many car manufacturers as possible. I'll license everything. That's part of our business. I'm going to try to give it to them as cheap as possible, everything, but let them manufacture it. Two, the fastest way is stop people from buying cars, but rather do robotaxi and get the 50% of people to switch over to, taking public transport through robotaxi. That's the fastest way to change the world. Okay, that's my opinion. Let me hear your side of
Okay.
your weak argument.
Yeah. Ready?
Okay,
So
go.
that could be realistic in the United States, right? So I could see that happening in the United States. Okay. But what about, say, Europe, who's shown to be a very slow moving regulatory body? South America, which has the infrastructure is nowhere near as strong as the other countries. Africa, parts of Asia. These are still over half the world's population that do not have either the regulatory bodies or the infrastructure capable of, at least in its current generation, probably for the next 5 years, I would say, to have a robotaxi operate in those roads. So I think to close that loop, I think Tesla will 100% offer a $25,000 or similar car to fill that gap.
Not gonna happen.
100%. 100%.
All right. Well, I think this is worth
There's going
way
to be two
more than
different
just.
cars.
This is worth way more than just one dinner.
Okay.
You're gonna owe me so much money.
2 dinners.
Interesting. I agree with what you said. I can hear that, but I'm just looking at China and the U.S. and
Okay.
they're just going to leapfrog and they're going to go right to, what happened in China, right? When they were all using, everybody in China was using rotary phones
Yeah, no, with the
when the
cell phones.
U.S. already moved to cell phones.
Yep.
but China went leapfrog. Instead of doing, clamshell phones, they went right into large.
Yeah, but again,
smartphones.
I don't think Tesla waits until Europe and South America and Africa and those other places are like capable of offering infrastructure or regulatory bodies that are able to, like, so okay, so in 10 years time, I agree. Like 10 years
No,
time,
I'm
100%.
saying there will
like,
not be there won't be a
you just
compact
the
car
$25,000
sold.
cars canceled.
Yes, I heard it
Okay.
in his voice on the earnings call.
Okay.
If you replay it and you listen to him, and you can hear the pause, so pregnant pause, and then he, and it basically, they had already made the decision they're not going to do it anymore. That's what I heard. I mean, everybody hears something slightly different, of course.
Yeah,
I could hear things without words being said.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you might be right. You might be right, but I think if that's the case, I think they're going to lose out on a gigantic TAM.
Yeah.
On the lower car
There's
market.
There's a larger TAM, which is robotaxi, right?
And it's gonna delay I think it's gonna delay their transition to sustainable transport if they choose to go robotaxi. Okay, all right, we'll see.
All right,
we'll see.
Okay, let's do some Funversations.
I can't wait to get my Big Mac.
Exactly. We didn't say what kind of dinner.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a compact dinner for you.
Yes, I'll take it.
So, we know you love guitar, right? So what music would you prefer if you could just listen to one song for the rest of your life?
One song?
So you can't say Metallica, would you?
Actually, I don't think I will, because I've listened to Metallica so much that so is it the song or genre? Like, do you want a specific song?
No, a genre, I think.
A genre?
Yeah.
No, it would be metal. For sure,
it would be metal. Okay,
100%. Yeah.
All right.
I do love a lot of different genres. I mean, honestly, I love every genre. Like, I listen to all kinds of music, but when it comes down to like what am I really passionate about? What speaks to me the most is metal, for sure.
80s is the decade.
Yeah.
If you ever take a look at the top 10 songs for each year, 80, 81, 82, 83, it's just ridiculously incredible. And then you try to do that for 90s and 20s, it's just not the same. Okay.
Sure.
All right, man. All right. What show would you like if you had to be trapped in a TV show for a month? And what character would you be?
Oh, dude, Dwight from The Office. Easy. Easy.
You picked Dwight, huh? Okay. Well, I'm the hero. Holy shit! All right. So, if you in Game of Thrones, would you be a Targaryen? Were you Team Targaryen?
Oh man. Okay, so Game of Thrones has a very special but also very dark place in my heart, because I was a book reader before the show came out. So I had read all the books before the show was even announced.
Yes.
Okay, so I was very passionate about the show.
Yeah.
And then the way they ended that show in season 8,
I saw you tweet about this one time. I agree with you, of course.
Wrecked me.
Yes.
Completely. Like, I could not understand how you could disrespect the viewership so badly. I could not stop talking about it for like a year. Like, my poor wife.
Same with me.
My poor wife, dude. Anyway, so from that, but I am excited for House of Dragon, which makes me stupid because, I'm like, I don't want to be let down again, but I'm hopeful that, the D&D are not involved. So the different set of writers, thank God. Right. Hopefully we get a different outcome. But I would say, I don't know. I think.
Well, if you had to decide, then you weren't a team. I mean, I'm Stark all the way. I'm the good guy.
Well, no, because I'm thinking of like the smaller houses. Like, I don't want to pick the big houses. I want to pick a small, because I want to be different.
Yeah,
I would probably be the who are the people from the Vale? The
the finger.
No, it was Littlefinger. Like, took over like the thing, but it was, I forget what who's the house that has the Vale. Anyway, those people. Yeah, because you have it's an impregnable place.
Catelyn Stark came from there. Yeah.
Yeah, her sister. Well, her sister. Well, she's a Tully, but the Tullys are from the River Run. But the Vale is a different house.
Okay.
I forget who the anyway.
Yeah, Littlefinger. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he weaseled his way in there somehow. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, see, I'm Stark all the way, man. And,
okay. I mean, I can see it. They survived at the end. I mean, they ended up
exactly. I root for them. And I'm just pretty sucker for the.
Whatever happened to Rickon, by the way?
He got
for real, like. No, he died. That's right.
It's
He got shot down by Ramsey. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
about
you gotta watch that scene. It was wonderful. They broke it down. I don't know if you saw this. It's a breakdown of the greatest scene ever made, and they
that. Okay.
explained how come. You know, the whole thing about shot one arrow, shot the second arrow, shot the third arrow. Everybody's like, he's there. They shot it like as if he's safe, and then fourth arrow killed him. And I was like, that's never been done before. Like, you know, everybody thinks in threes, and it was brilliant scene, but it's like another shocker.
And that's when John like got pissed off and started running towards the horses, right? And
Yes.
there was like the huge clash in the middle. Yeah. The Battle of the Bastards. That's
Battle
right.
Bastards.
Yeah,
okay, you know what?
Yeah.
So my wife and I watched the series at least 6 times every episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're obsessed. Diehards. And like you, very, very disappointed.
Yeah.
But it was so good. Yeah, it was one of the best.
We started rewatching it again for the first time because like she wanted to rewatch the show so bad with my wife.
Yep.
Before House of Dragon, I'm like, I can't do it. I know.
Do it. There has to be the right timing. You can't do it.
Well, not even that. Like I wasn't ready. I wasn't like
and that's
prepared
what I mean.
to be disappointed. Oh yeah, sure. Like I wasn't prepared to be like disappointed, you know.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, fine. So we started watching it, and we watched the first 4 seasons. I'm like, man, I forgot how good the show is.
The first 4 is great. First 5, yeah.
And then the fifth, like the fifth season, you start getting like the writers start doing their own writing, and it's deviating from the books quite a bit, and like George R. Martin's influence. And I'm like, boy, like this is huge difference already. Like I didn't notice how big of a difference that was. But
I read the books, but I did it after watching it, and then I got stuck at book 2, 3, and then I didn't want to continue anymore.
Yeah,
because I saw the 8th.
Oh yeah, sure. I know.
It's like
the fourth book is rough. The fourth book is slow. The fourth book is really slow because it's after Storm of Swords. It's Feast for Crows is the fourth one. It's slow. Like you have to rebuild everything up. But,
all right. You know, I heard that you're going on vacation this year, or was it last year? That you talked about Ireland and Ghana.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you going?
Yeah, so we're going to Ireland next week, actually.
Oh my gosh.
We're leaving next
timing
week.
here.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. So Ireland next week, we're going to be there for about 10 days. I'm super excited for that. I've been there before. It's my wife's first time. So we're going to go explore like Dublin, Galway, Cork, those areas. I'm excited to go there.
Why Ireland? Then, how did that come up, and how did you get that in your head?
Yeah, so I visited there like weeks before I met my wife. I visited Ireland. So I went to Penn State, and then they played their opening football game in Ireland that year. And my friends and I were like, let's go to Ireland and watch them play. Like, hell yeah, let's go to. So that was, it came about that way. And I was single, I'm like, I want to go find myself an Irish wife or whatever.
Yeah.
And which didn't happen, thank God. But it was I just fell in love with the country, the culture, the people, the scenery. It's just such a beautiful country, beautiful people. And I'm like, I got to come back. Like, I feel like I didn't get, like, I had to romanticize. I'm like, when I get married, I'm bringing my wife to Ireland because I love this so much.
If I was a psychologist, I'd go, you graduated, you went to Ireland, you're revisiting that feeling. You want that feeling of the world is your oyster. What could I do?
Sure. Yeah, it was why we left, that's why I left Tesla in the first was to go get out there and explore, so we did some traveling before. It was mostly domestic, and then this year was going to be the restart of our international because COVID restrictions finally loosened up. So Ireland next week, and then a few weeks after that we'll go Cancun for 4th of July with our friends, so that's going to be awesome. Nice. And then we are potentially doing Guyana later this year. We haven't decided yet. There might be a third trip for us.
It's Guyana, not Ghana? Where is this?
Guyana, yeah, Guyana. So it's not Ghana. So Ghana is in Africa. Guyana is in South America. It's north of Brazil, east of Venezuela. Fun fact: it's the only English-speaking country in South America.
Okay.
And that's where my wife's from. She was born in Guyana. So,
gotcha. So she's gonna show you around.
That's right. She's gonna show me around, meet the family, eat some fresh food. They have, everybody's got chicken in the backyard, and if you want a chicken, they go break the neck and you have some chicken for lunch.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Right. So yeah, we'll see if that happens this year.
All right, another question here. So every day, 12 new things arrive in your house, but they all have to begin with a letter that you choose. Which letter would you pick?
Oh, snap. 12 things arrive in my house, and they all have to start with the same
Just
letter.
One letter. What's your favorite letter, and what's that's what I'm trying to. Like a G is a guitar.
I'm thinking about food, so I'm trying to figure out what are the foods that start with the letter that I really like. Damn, that's a hard question.
Thinking about food, are you?
I am. Man, I'm gonna say R
Yeah.
because the first thing that came to mind is rice, and I love
Oh,
rice.
okay.
And
Oh
then
my
I'll
gosh.
figure out the other 11.
There
I'll
you
figure
go.
out the other 11. Yeah. And R seems like a common,
It's a
like a
common
lot
one.
of words start with R, so I'm gonna go with R.
Do you
Yeah.
do Wordle? Did you play that?
No, but I see everybody plays it.
Yeah.
Kim's got like Wordle up on my freaking Twitter feed every day.
In my, you just interviewed Kim earlier, and I told you that
Yeah.
I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And when I post that video, I actually played a game of Wordle with her,
Okay.
and she solved it in 2.
Wow. I don't know how to play the game.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
It's a shocker. You don't know what the word is. You say one word, and then you might get hints on if you hit one letter right, or if it's in the word but wrong. It's a 5-letter word. She hit it in the second guess.
Oh, snap. Okay.
That's unbelievable.
Okay.
All right. So
nice.
Some quick questions here. We're an hour and a half into this. I just want to kind of, think about the future. Are you going to go to the annual shareholder meeting on August 4th?
I'm going to try.
I'm
going to try. Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely, I'm right here. Might as well. Cause it's going to be in Austin, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
don't know.
I think they haven't announced it, right? Where it's going to be.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Austin's headquarters, then I'm assuming they'll do it here. Yeah. But if they do it here, I'll go. If it's in California, I probably won't because I'm like,
AI Day 2. I know you have to be invited. It's for recruitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts on what you'd, are you going to go? And what do you
if I can somehow get in there, yeah, I would love to go check it out.
You gotta go. Tesla bot demo.
If it's down here in Austin, dude, I'm gonna go.
It's gonna be here in Austin. It's gonna have to be.
It's gonna have to be.
It's gonna have to be. And it's a Tesla bot demo.
Yeah.
You're freaking living next to the factory that's gonna be producing, millions of bots.
I know. It's so sick.
I mean, that's another prediction of mine is that there's going to be a bot factory specifically for bots.
100%.
And it's going to be the scary thing where you're going to see the
I know
rows and
armies
rows and
of
rows
bots coming out. Yeah,
and bots building like bots.
Sci-fi. I know.
That's like, okay, this is scary.
It's gonna be so sick. It's gonna be so sci-fi.
Yeah, I need to see the bot. I need to be there. So I don't know how that's going to happen, but
yeah, I think they'll do that. They'll probably talk about full self-driving. Yeah, but I think the big thing is going to be, I do think it's going to be the bot. And that's why they delayed it, is because I think they need a little bit more time to ensure the bot's ready for
my positive, optimistic view on that is that Elon saw the bot, very excited, but then he delayed it because he goes, I needed to do this cool thing.
Exactly.
This would be so friggin' cool if it can pick up the hammer and then hit the Cybertruck with it, and then voice activate it. I want to just say to the bot, do this, and then it does it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's we have to it'd be fun as a fun conversation to think about if you were trying to wow people with the Tesla bot, and my mind would be you need to show that it's intelligent somehow. It's not going to be cool enough to see this thing dance and do flips like the Boston Dynamics guy can do. Or, the other one is like it's running through the forest. That's really cool. And another one, they showed that it can actually open a door. What would you do, right? What would you make it do so that people go, holy shit, this is not just a, humanoid bot that can move and balance and stand up, but it's got the brain. That's what they need to show.
Yeah. So I think what would be very
they're going to put it in one of your escape rooms.
That would be great. Could you imagine if it solves it in a record time? It's like, yeah, it's this, Yeah. I think because I'm thinking in a warehouse environment, a bot would be incredibly helpful to stage freight at dock doors. And so if they do something like, if you have a bunch of finished parcel on one side,
a Tesla semi comes back and then it opens the doors and pulls the stuff out or something.
Even better, right? But that's kind of the synergy you have there. I think if it's able to go on a pallet with a bunch of, say, mixed parcel of freight, ground, overnight, and then you say Tesla bot sort freight, it will go and start staging the finished parcel to the right area of the warehouse or the right area of the stage. Then I'm like, okay, we just literally need that in the warehouse tomorrow because you get rid of a very repetitive, boring job. That you're paying somebody whatever.
And sales would go through the roof. People would sign manufacturing firms would distribution companies would sign up right away.
Anybody who needs to move things from point A to point B, that's like super repetitive
so you
for a
think
human.
Bezos will call?
That would be awesome. From his yacht. He might get one for his yacht. You know? Bring him dinner every night.
I think the hell will freeze over before he does that, right?
I agree.
Oh my God. It's exciting. Well, thank you so much, Farzad. You are amazing. Thank you for taking the time to give me advice earlier to this interview. And you just got a great energy and you flow with the universe, and the universe will help you out. And I think it's a lot of good things still to come for you. So I told you about the wonderful comment you made about the community, and that's got me all passionate about too. And I want to be part of it, and I want to also help grow it. And I think that's why there's so many people wanting to tune into you and all the other people in the Tesla Twitter folks. The community is important because it's what's needed to improve the mission. Thank you very much. So everyone, please follow Farzad on Twitter. He's under the handle Farziness. Farzyness. And of course, you must get on his YouTube channel. There's no one else like him doing what he's doing. And then we'll have to follow him when he loses those bets against me, though. I'm a better predictor of the future than he is.
Sure. Let's see how it plays out.
Give me something.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm really excited that you're embarking on that journey as well, trying to see how you can bring value to the community. So I wish you the best of luck. I think you're going to be very successful. Thank you for everything you've done for the community so far, and I really appreciate you having me on your show today. And yeah, man, really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Farzad. Okay, guys. Hopefully you guys learned something new, and if so, please subscribe and like. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Farzad. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
See ya.